Here we are now in the lovely town of Arromanches. Just after D-Day, the Allies built a special harbour, brought all the way over from England. And looking out from the beach, 80 years on, they're still there. A very vivid reminder of what took place here.
I mean, it's just amazing to see, isn't
Well,
it?
this is the
Because
thing.
it is so huge. And even though it's, it hasn't been used since when?
March 1945,
Okay.
they finally wound it down. Yeah.
Right, so not until March 1945, and yet quite a lot of it is still here.
Yep.
Even after all these years, after
Yep.
countless winter storms,
Yep.
summer storms beside, here it is. You've got that, which just that alone tells you the enormity of this. And look how far it goes down. I mean,
Well, the breakwater, that's nearly two kilometres from here.
Yeah, that's
So judging that
amazing.
distance with the naked eye is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And, sending a drone out over there causes consternation in the production department, obviously.
and with very good reason.
With very good reason, yeah.
But she made it home.
She made it home in one piece, our boy. The
And,
thing is, though, what you have here, though, this is unique for Normandy, I think, in that this imprint, they haven't showbiz this imprint, because there are bits of Normandy where
It's all a bit totted up.
it's been tarted up, or it's been signposted and all that. They haven't done anything to this. They've just let it sit, and you get a sense here of the scale. It communicates to you directly what the sheer scale of the Allied operation here.
Yep. And I think it's absolutely amazing that by September 1944, 517,844 tonnes of supplies have been landed here in Arromanches via the Mulberry Harbour.
Well, it's 2.5 million men go through the Mulberries as well.
Yeah, that's a huge amount.
What?
Absolutely huge amount. And on top of that, you've also got 16,000 tonnes of supplies being landed at Utah and Omaha every day as well.
Yeah.
And, we've talked in the past about Italy.
Yeah.
And how amazingly at Anzio they managed to get 4,500 tonnes a day.
Yeah.
And how incredible that was, and how the Germans did even the kind of largest part of their best days in kind of April 1944 before the Battle for Rome were getting 1,900 tonnes a day.
Yeah.
So that's the scale. And I think one of the things that historians in the past and people generally get hung up on is that kinetic level, and they get terribly kind of sort of overexcited about 88mm guns and Tigers and stuff.
They are exciting, Jim.
They are exciting.
I mean,
but
Tiger.
well, yes, I know.
Honestly,
Panther, and all the rest of it, and half track.
Hitler liked big tank, Jim. Hitler liked big tank.
I know that.
Hitler named tank after big cat.
Big cat. He liked big cat.
Anyway,
Panther,
point. Yeah,
Anyway,
sorry,
my point is,
obviously trying to derail you there. But
my point is that actually it's easy when one's thinking about people jumping out of landing craft or firing in the bocage or manning a shuttle
landing in a
tank.
glider at dead of night.
Well, landing in a glider at dead of night. It's easy to forget that actually what underpins the Allied war effort is this enormous scale, this big war, as I call it.
Yeah.
And here is a kind of manifest example of exactly what big war means. It means this enormous scale. It means this thinking big, but it means delivering on it as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's so completely remarkable about this.
But this is a condition of everything being an expeditionary force. You aren't a continental army.
No.
Ploughing your way across a continent, either east or west, like the German, or south a bit, like the Germans do. You're having everything has to come here by ship, everything, or by aircraft, but fundamentally by ship across the ocean, and that
requires a scale of planning and logistics.
You're playing a completely different game, aren't you? You're playing a totally different game.
And they're thinking, as we discussed when we were up at Bassenville, they're thinking, okay, we haven't got to supply infantrymen with ammunition. We've also got to apply pierced steel plating for airfields. We've got to supply spare parts for Spitfires and Typhoons and P-47s and everything else. And we've got to get it over here, and we've got to be able to create airfields, and we've got to be able to clear the rubble of the damage that we've caused by our enormous offshore naval guns and by our bombs and artillery pieces. And, it's just, you can see that the bigger the scale of the war, the more they have to think about other things, because it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, but what is amazing about it is they cope with that.
Yeah.
They pull it off.
Yeah. Well, and yes, if there are roads if you're using vehicles, you need roads, and just from there, and then you need bridges. So you need to have decided what your most manageable bridge is, what weight it can take.
Yep.
Then you design your tanks to sync with that.
Yep.
That also have to be train transportable to get to the
Yes.
get to a railhead to be put on a ship. You know, immediately, you know, for instance, the decision that a Bailey bridge will have a 30-ton tolerance.
Yep. I mean,
which is a decision made in 1939, locks you into everything you're doing here now.
Yeah.
5 years later, when the circumstances of the war are completely different.
Yeah.
Beyond your imagining in 1939. But yes, the bulldozer is probably the most.
Well, but look at this. I mean, this is part of the pier. This is one section of one of the piers that went out from here.
Yeah.
And just look at the size of that. And as you say, this was designed for 3 months.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that. And you've got a bulldozer, which is this bulldozer, of which they are absolutely everywhere. They're almost first off the ship alongside the Sherman tanks.
Yeah.
These incredibly powerful machines developed in the United States, and they're just absolutely everywhere. They're all around. You know, they're in Pacific atolls.
Yeah.
They're in Italy. They're in Normandy. They're all through northwest Europe. It's absolutely incredible.
And that's the kite anchor.
That's a kite anchor. Yep, which secures it all. Just ingenious as well. I mean, just again in a kind of pre-digital age.
Yeah, but first you've got to take Arromanches.
Yes.
And you've got to take it on time.
Yep.
Because otherwise, the parts of the Mulberry which have left Glasgow, we'll get here at the wrong moment. So there's all that coordination, and bits of the Mulberry have already left. Obviously, have already left for Arromanches before the invasion, before D-Day.
Yep.
And they're doing it all twice.
Yes.
Because this one's here for all to see.
Yep.
But Omaha, there is the other one.
And there's your aperture. Okay, just.
Oh yeah.
This is a gun position, looking down over the beach again.
Yes.
I mean, it's an enormous casement.
Through those rooftops.
Yeah. Well, obviously pine tree's not there then.
But yeah, so when the storm comes, they lose Omaha B, Omaha A,
Mulberry A.
Mulberry A at Omaha suffers.
Yeah.
And then they bring parts from that into here.
Yes, because they've suffered here as well.
Yeah.
It's not that they haven't.
But to bolster it and to fix it up. It's just because not only are they building these two prefab harbours, they then can adapt to them, having to fix them, and it's not just that it's you know, because very often there's this idea as well that the Allies are unadaptable.
Yeah.
They're bad at adapting.
Yes, they're stuck in their ways.
They're set in their ways. They have sort of cookie cutter solutions to everything.
But that's manifestly not the case.
There's balls.
You know, you think about that. You think about mosquitoes flying in and hitting Copenhagen in April 1945, and what a transformation that is from, you know, earlier part of the war, Dunkirk era in 1940.
Yeah, it's complete balls.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
I suppose also, you know, just the necessity of the war is encouraging people to think big, think outside the box.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it.
Yeah, look at it. The view from here.
You know, they're being encouraged to think outside the box, but they're also being backed once they come up with ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I love that line from Churchill about the Mulberry Harbours when everyone's saying, well, you know, it just seems like an awfully big thing to do. And he goes, don't worry about the difficulties. The difficulties will answer for themselves.
Answer themselves.
In other words, just get on with it and just confront each problem as it comes and deal with it in time.
Well, and you know, there are some blank cheques being written, aren't there?
There are.
Which is a big part of it, I think.
Yes, and it's about prioritisation, isn't it? What's most important is securing future peace.
Well, but also
we can sort of build back our wealth later.
But also within all of this, so this is why an British rifleman, still has a bolt-action rifle. So that'll do.
Yes.
We don't want to spend any more money on rifles than we are.
Right.
That'll do.
Yeah.
He doesn't need an automatic rifle. He doesn't need something fancy schmancy. We don't need to change that.
No.
Because we want to spend on other things, other new things. And if you want to have, you know, cathode ray tubes at the other end of the scale.
Yes, and cavity magnetrons.
You're just going to have to make do with a bolt action rifle.
Yep.
And so there are, I mean, we said blank checks earlier, there are compromises and concessions, because there have to be.
Of course.
Whoa.
Oh no, it's quite a stiff walk.
It's a little steep.
End of a long day.
If you can
But
hear...
just think, it could be worse. It could be D-Day. You could have been on the go since the 2nd of June.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Stuck in a
I'm
landing
just going to
bus.
say to the viewer, if they can hear heavy breathing, it's neither Jim or Nora. It's extremely heavy camera equipment.
Yes. Here we are. Well, we're going over here. We're going to...
God, blimey.
Do you remember talking to John Everest?
Yes.
The Chelsea Flower Show.
Yeah.
Well, before he did that amazing...
He did this.
He did this.
I remember. God, look at it. Bloody
Yeah.
hell.
That's a view and a half, isn't it?
So I was on the top of the White Cliffs of Dover the other day, looking down at Dover, towards Dover, and it always gets compared to Dover, this harbour.
You reckon it's bigger, don't you?
It's bigger, yeah.
Bigger than Dover.
bigger.
Two of them floated across, you know, 90 miles or whatever, 80 miles. And this, of course, reminds you that for all the big war, it's still about individuals, isn't it?
Well, what you have here...
It's the point of the spear.
Yeah.
That's all the backup.
But it's the epic and the intimate that you get here.
Yes. I think this is such a clever...
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It's such a clever sculpture and so thought-provoking. And the old veteran looking back at his younger self and his fellows. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really stunning. Really cleverly done.
It's really clever.
And what a backdrop. 1944 Mulberry Bee. Love it. It's a reminder, isn't it, that of the huge effort, the huge enterprise that the Western democracies underwent in the Second World War to kind of liberate Europe. It's a reminder that we can just sort of do what we want here. We can wander on the beach, go swimming, send a drone out, walk up the hill, do whatever we like. No one's going to shoot at us. And for the time being, we've still got peace in Europe.
Yeah.
And thank goodness. But you can't kind of lose sight of the sacrifice, can you?
No.
And I think, you know, it's war is a very, very serious business. And I think it's absolutely fine to go on a war battlefield tour and look at the battlegrounds and have a lot of fun doing it. But you never want to lose sight of what it was all about, do you?
No.